Morning, Scott.
Morning, Neil.
We're in the Mediterranean, the invasion of Crete this time. What do you think of that?
Sweet.
This is a scenario from the Action Pack number 16 from a land down under, Anzac boys in Chania, Crete. German, German versus Anzac. 5 turns. And I am the Anzac, right? Yeah, and you are the Germans.
Yep. I think it's a tournament scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a short tournament scenario. So here's the advantages and disadvantages. For the Anzacs, my advantages are they don't cower like British units. In this case, they are stealthy and have hand-to-hand combat ability, which I was not able to utilize, as you'll see. Disadvantages is I have a 1-to-1 attack force. Usually the attacker has more units. It's almost literally a 1-to-1 attack force in this case. And roar balance, there is none. There were no playings of this recorded.
Yeah, for the Germans, they don't really have a lot of advantages. They get a move first, which I think helps, but they get to defend the stone buildings. Disadvantages, the terrain is pretty nuts on this board. There's a couple overlays, right, and it's all olive grove. So a lot of hindrances, and +1 Tim.
Yeah. There's 2 or 3 overlays on here. I think there's maybe just 2, which were, like you said, olive groves that come into play. Yeah, there's hindrances all over the board for both of us approaching, but I think it helps me more than it helps you in this case.
Right, totally. Yeah.
So what's your you move first, you come on, what's your tactics strategy for coming on board?
My main plan was to drive down to the center of the board and try and get those 3 stone buildings in H5, J5, K5. So I could do that on the first turn. Wanted to grab those, hold those, and then because your guys were coming in from the west side, the bottom of the board, and then the north side, the right side of the board.
Yep.
So to hold the center of the board and then protect my western flank, kind of like the J1, J3, I3, and then just see what would happen.
Okay. My Anzacs, they come on in 2 waves. In the first turn, and then the other units come on the what turn do they come on? Second turn. Yeah, just the following turn. They're the ones that come on the north, on the right side of the board. So for my units coming on the bottom of the board, the east side, I kind of split them up, was planning on splitting them up into 2 groups. One is going to come up kind of the B hex row and hook around and take those 3 buildings, because I had to take at least 10 buildings of the 12 on board. I basically had to take almost every building on this board and hold them to win.
Yeah.
And then the rest of my units, I was going to basically come up through right around I-10, through the woods and the orchards, and try to establish myself in, the J7 wood building, the H8 stone building, and then those woods in G8 that kind of hook around. Because I knew you were going to try to make a rush for H5, J5 coming on board. And then my support units that come in on the north on turn 2. I was going to bring some through the orchards up in the upper right to try to kind of outflank you and cut off your reinforcements, and then bring the others through the woods on the bottom to reinforce my guys that came on the bottom side of the board. Okay, your guys are coming on here.
Yeah, just driving down through the middle, bypassing the buildings and the woods there in the J row. And
yeah, so you got to establish
buildings in the center.
Yeah, you got to establish and dug in those stone buildings right away, which I knew you were going to do. Nothing I could really do to prevent it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the best strategy. Maybe it would be better to not cross the north-south road and just defend the ones on top, but that's what I did. So
you can see I brought my guys in the 8-0 leader on the south side of the board, left side. Then I'm bringing my other guys up through the woods and the brush to try to get into those buildings. And I've got one or two mortars. No, just one mortar. I'm not sure I've moved them on yet. I can't remember which hex he was in. And my mortars have smoke too. That come out. Oh, there he is right there. There's the mortar. So my plan was to get the mortar set up so I could start dropping smoke. They weren't going to be effective doing pot shot 51 millimeters into stone buildings, so I was going to try to get off as much smoke as possible. And I think the first shot of each of my mortars, I got like a bonus
Yeah,
for the
smoke
smoke
9.
shot. Yeah, it was S9 on the first shot, so that helped a little bit.
You did something in this game that you usually don't do. Is you moved in stacks, which I thought was kind of surprising.
Yeah, I know it burned me a couple times, and that's obviously my fault. But I was trying to get early on, at least in the center here, I was trying to establish, like a long chain of fire groups, and to get to those points without being counter exhausted, I had to move in stacks. I didn't want to be counter
Mm-hmm.
exhausted. But yeah, over on the left with Goose there, the 8-0, I totally screwed up a line of sight check, and you got a shot off on the stack that I moved that I thought was clear, and because I was too busy looking at a different line of sight, I missed another one.
Yeah, you've already got a couple broken guys. You really struggled with making morale checks in this game. It really hurt you.
I'm shocked. God.
It's kind of your MO with the British, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when we were playing this, I was getting a little PTSD from Elst from morale checks. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it is. When I play the British, I mean, the morale on these units, they're not like they're soft. They have 8 morale.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess I should say Anzac, but they have 8 morale. But yeah, I don't know. There's like some psychological thing where the vassal dice bot knows.
Yeah, so now you just lay smoke on
Yeah.
2 buildings in the center there, and that kind of got me worried because that brought back my PTSD from Elst,
Yep.
and
Oh, there's that shot on the left. Goose missed that line of sight, and you broke everything. Or
yeah,
I broke everything because I rolled like shit. Yeah, the smoke. I got lucky and got those, and now I'm like, okay, I got to move in quickly and try to get into those buildings because I'm stealthy and I have hand-to-hand capability.
yeah, I've got a broken leader in K5. Meyer, I think it was my best leader, but I think I got a squad man in the medium
Hmm.
in there, and taking some pot shots with my 50 millimeter mortars at you. I didn't have smoke.
Yeah. Here I go moving in, and my flanking guys came in up in the upper right.
And I had a big fire group on you there.
Yeah, that's right. You pinned me and broke me. Yeah, and I
Pin the leader.
small assault moved in there, right? And yeah, I
Hmm.
couldn't get anywhere.
But it was this point where you got like most of your guys are broke now on the bottom half of the board.
Um, yeah, I mean, all the guys over on the left with Goose under that 2 residual are broken. In J6, they're either broken or pinned.
Well, I just broke those guys with my mortar in
Yeah.
K8.
Yeah.
So I was starting to think, what could I do? I mean, because I had to take advantage of this. I mean, uh, I was going to try and get you for failure to rout. So I was going to put on 2 moves.
I think you got a critical hit with your mortar and just wiped out some guys too. The guys in the woods
Oh,
in
that's
K8.
right. Yeah.
And then for
Snake
morale
eyes.
checks, I rolled an 11 and a 10. Yeah, that something happened there. I could blew the crap out of those guys. Yeah, it wasn't going
You don't
good.
want to. You don't want to overlook that 2-1. You know, those mortars, the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, well, where did they shoot from? That mortar from?
G3. There's
Yeah.
both mortars in there. Yeah, we're on to
Oh,
my
geez.
turn 3. Uh,
Goose got wounded.
oh yeah.
And then I knew what you were going to do. Everything was broken there. You were just going to try to swarm that stack in B7 to try to eliminate them. So I ran, I think, a squad and a leader from the middle of the board as far over as I could to try to protect them under that CX counter there.
Right.
In the
And I
end,
was trying to do it. Yeah, I was gonna try to do it down here in G7 too. I was gonna try and
uh,
because those guys were all broke. You couldn't rally them, so I was gonna try and get them for failure route too. That one didn't work out, but the other side did.
because I think is no quarter in effect. Pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have the
no
counter
quarter.
on the board because I have the shrunk down version of the info thing, but I think no quarter. Yeah, no quarter is in effect. Yeah, yeah. I was in serious. It's only turn 2 or into turn 3, and I'm already in serious trouble at this point.
Yeah, I just moved my turn 3 reinforcements on to help bolster that upper part, the western edge of the board.
and I don't know I don't know how it turns so quickly. Because I got smoked down. Things seemed to be going according to plan, and man, it just fell apart really fast for me.
Well, I got a couple lucky shots, and then you couldn't on you, and you couldn't roll a morale check to save your
Yeah.
life. You just everything was broke.
And then, as we'll see shortly, over right here, you're moving in on the right there. Yeah, I couldn't, even though I got those units over there in D6, I couldn't get enough to defend them from being surrounded, and they were all eliminated. I think there were two two squads and a leader in B7 that got eliminated. So I lost that side of the board pretty much.
Yeah, my guys in K5, I tried to do the same thing over there, but you got a lucky shot on them
Oh yeah, I broke them.
from M5, I think M4,
Yeah, and they had to run back into the
and
woods.
yeah,
So my only hope was my flanking units up in, M2 area in that grain field to try to, I don't know, put a pincher move on you guys. But I mean, you've got some broken guys around too, and I've got smoke still on the board. But it was, yeah, because I lost the left side in the view here, it wasn't looking good. Oh, got Fanatic. And Fanatic and a hero, that's right. You rolled Snake Eyes on a,
mm-hmm.
on a, yeah,
Yeah, a little
Jesus.
heated battle.
I was just like, come
But
on.
you got yeah, yeah. There's like nothing left down below though. You got
Yeah.
like the squad mortar, and then the guys in D6.
Getting the hero and Fanatic was just like piling on at that point.
Yeah.
It's almost over. I called it at some point. There was no way.
Yeah, you've got this is your last movement phase right here. You're gonna go after like J1,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
if you
that's
thought
right.
if you could get J1, then you might have a chance still to.
Yeah. Those guys got pinned. Those guys are CX. Yeah, I
Yeah,
called it
I
there.
didn't. What do you called it? I didn't have the best defensive fire. I didn't roll too good, but I rolled just enough. I mean, basically a pin check was all it took, and then you rolled like crap. And
Right. When you pin those guys, I couldn't. I just called it at that point. There wasn't enough to recover. I had two turns after this, and I think I had
yeah,
captured. At this point, I think I held two buildings after capturing four really quickly, and there was no way. So, all it took was a few bad morale checks, or you got a critical hit with the mortar, I think, and um, Yeah, I just could not recover, or at least recover quick enough. Oh, here's the tail of the dice. And if you look overall, we both rolled a 7 average, but right in the middle, not in the middle, but between basically on my turn 2, my rolls just
Mm-hmm.
my moving average just went to garbage, and yours went really low. That was kind of the turning point of the game, and I
Yeah.
couldn't recover.
Yeah. It's never the average. It's making the dice rolls you need to make. And in your case, it was the morale checks. You just couldn't make any morale checks. Ended up with
Yeah.
all those broken guys.
Well, sometimes the dice can totally screw you. You can look at the average and it's way off, but in this case, it was a few morale checks and a critical hit probably that did it. Oh, and eliminating for failure to route that stack over on the left.
Mm-hmm.
It went south really quickly. Yeah, I just threw in the towel. But yeah, it's still fun.
Yeah.
Quick game.
It was one of our quicker games. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was. It was a good scenario. I
yeah.
liked it.
Our next scenario. What is our next one? It is Katyusha variations with Swedish volunteers against the Russians and off-board artillery. That should be fun.
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe not.